are in the Brewery LBK. It's Lubbock's newest brew pub here in downtown Lubbock. A thriving, burgeoning downtown is something that really legitimizes you as a city and as a town. And we're taking strides to become that. And if we can increase foot traffic, get a lot of young professionals, anyone from young professionals to college students to families and everyone in between, to come down here and to walk around, go to shops, stop in for a beer, grab a bite at the West Table, have a coffee, see a show downtown. That's what we're going for. When we were approached with the brewery project, it was kind of a no-brainer. Just thinking about what this can add to the synergy of this first floor and of the lobby, and what I can bring to our other two entities that are already here, the coffee shop and the West Table. This space itself, I think we've had designs on it for a long time. We wanted to take it over and do something here. There's gorgeous windows here that overlook downtown. It's just a great area and a great vibe, a great atmosphere, and we're looking to keep going from there.
Mike's a beer geek, and we've talked about wanting to do beers for a very long time. Well, I think it's as much of a financial investment as a cultural investment. If it's the type of city that you want to attract and retain talent, instead of them have them leave and go to the bigger cities, it was as much of an investment in the people of Lubbock as well as the, infrastructure. If I was going to come home, I want to help revitalize downtown.
A lot of people are surprised that there is even a brewery, let alone in downtown Lubbock. I think downtown is still one of those areas where people really just are blown away that there's anything down here, let alone an area like this where there's a brewery and a restaurant and a coffee shop and things like that. Our clientele that we're trying to attract is basically anyone that has a love for beer, and as Cameron kind of alluded to, that wants to come downtown and hang out.
It's a destination location in Lubbock, so it's a date night where you don't have to drive 300 miles to take your wife out or hang out with the guys and not have a taco. Or I'll give you a taco if you want.
So I've been a brewer my whole life. I first got exposed to fermentation at 10 or 12 years old, making wine with my uncles, and just quickly grew a fascination with the art and the science of making beer. And I went to the World Brewing Academy. I studied beer in Chicago and Munich, Germany. My brother is a Texas Tech alum, and he was also in the Air Force, so he's a little bit older than Cameron and I, but came back to Tech to finish his degree, and at that time met Cameron. Cameron later went to the CIA in Napa, which is close to the Reno Lake Tahoe area. He would come visit, ski, and cook for us, and made quite an impression, to say the least, between the food and the good times that we had. And approached me about coming to help, and it was a unique opportunity. It kind of got me back to Texas, where I lived for some time as a youngster, and it's been a great opportunity to be part of a small startup brewery. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, the enthusiasm from the public, from the owners, from the staff has been great, and I look forward to continuing to make great beer for Lubbock and beyond.
The first brew that most people really gravitate toward when they go to a craft brewery is an IPA. So that certainly is something that we had to have on the menu, obviously, and I think that's what Cameron's drinking right now. But surprisingly, the brown ale has been one of the most well-received beers that we created. It's nice, it's dark, it's malty. There's some really complex notes to it, but it also isn't overtly heavy like a stout would be, So I think that it really resonates with a lot of people here in Lubbock that either are being introduced to craft beer and want to try something dark, but not so dark where it's going to be super bitter and coffee and, chocolate notes. But also has enough complexity, and flavor profile for the beer geeks.
Lubbock Country Club, Dr. Chilton. I don't know if this story is true, but we'll go with it. I believe it. Yeah. Anyways, Chilton is a classic drink from Lubbock, Texas. It's hot out here. We need something light, crisp, dry, refreshing. I find the lemon and salt. We've been making these drinks for a very long time, so that flavor has always played into the character of Lubbock. So when we started the brewery and started talking about flavor profiles and the beers we wanted to do, I knew that I wanted to do a lemon salted beer for my session summer beer. I didn't know how to make it. I didn't know what the best style was, so I turned it over to him. But for the most part, we figured we needed to do a salted lemon dry beer to be able to crush on the patio all summer long.
The Chilton was really kind of the first sign that we were going to have a lot of fun coming up with flavors and putting my brain towards the beer styles, and then bouncing ideas off with different flavors and combinations, different cuisines and flavors that they come with. It's already been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the beers we come up with in the past, both classic styles for sure, but also kind of exploring all these different combinations of craft beer styles and different flavors from the culinary world.
So started reading, tasting beers all day, every day. And I found that I did actually like IPAs, because as a beer drinker before this project, that was not my favorite beer by any means. Then we started finding some middle of the road, some fruity ones, and finding the complexity and the balance. And really what it was is the IBUs, the bitterness, the balance in the palate, the floral notes. Kind of blew my mind. It really kind of opened me up to actually what hops are and how you season the beer and the whole process. So the IPA obviously is a no-brainer. You have to do one, in my opinion. We're shooting for the middle of the road on this guy, get people impressed with how good of a beer maker this man is, and then from there, once they trust us, kind of like I did with the food, after they kind of respect you as a chef and as a beer maker, they're going to just try everything you do. And then whether they like it or not, or whether it's not for them personally, they can trust it stylistically or quality-wise is going to be there. So that's what I always kind of look for is I need to build their respect first before I can start putting crazy stuff out there.
The general concept of the beer portfolio was drinkability and approachability for all the beer styles. Right now, where the response early out of the gates has been so strong for the beers that we've made, we're backing those up. The stout, even though it's a stout, is a very drinkable, sessionable beer. We didn't get too crazy on the ABV, but it does definitely bring in the chocolate, coffee, roast notes that everybody loves in stouts. Bringing some new flavors, some new experiences to Lubbock, Texas is something I really look forward to. I love the feeling of handing somebody a pint and watch their eyebrows raise. They didn't maybe expect to like it, and they do. To give people a beer that they've never thought about trying. And because they're curious, because it's the new spot in town, they'll give it a try, and then when you raise the eyebrow and you see that they like it, that's the payoff. It's really, really rewarding.
No, that's one of the best parts about not just the brewery, but also in restaurants and food, is that instant gratification that you get, because your consumer and your customer is right there. So you can talk to them about your product and what you're putting out, and the response and the feedback has been tremendous from, Lubbockites and from the locals. And so, we want to thank them first and foremost for their support.
I just think it's cool that I've got a guy from Vietnam, a guy from Reno, Nevada, and West Texas honky making some solid beers. So.
Absolutely.
Way to close on that. Cheers.
We're the Brewery LBK, and we live, love Lubbock.